Chair. And while a lot of the media attention has been focused on specific worst-case scenarios related to the drought, I'm pleased that the Chair is committed to move forward on a west-wide drought bill that addresses the water needs throughout the West. And in preparation for this, and with an eye toward the present problems and the coming realities of water in the West, I've sought over the last 18 months to put together a consensus of federal water policy provisions that would be beneficial to Arizona. In Arizona, we have benefited over the past several decades from many forward-looking leaders who have planned well and have prepared the state well for the droughts that are here and certainly to come. And Senator McCain and I have worked with the governor's office and former Senator Kyle, other stakeholders in developing a series of ideas that I hope will be incorporated into bills that we're discussing today. Now, several of these ideas were built on portions of the drought bill that was passed in the Senate last year by unanimous consent, and others will expand concepts that are included in the California-focused bills that are currently before us. We will seek to address water-intensive invasive species that plague a number of rivers in Arizona and throughout the Southwest. In addition, there are several items that will allow for targeted forest restoration in critical watersheds. There's also a provision for a pilot project to allow more efficient use of current water storage in reservoirs. Now, fortunately, a wet May has made the shortage declaration in this year unlikely. I think we can all agree, however, that we could well see such a declaration in the near future. And Arizona, along with the other basin states, is looking forward and looking for ways to avoid that shortage declaration. Thus far, the most promising efforts have included states voluntarily leaving some of their water, their state's water entitlement storage in the Colorado River. The number one priority in Arizona is to make sure that when Arizona or any other state voluntarily contributes their water to the health of the Colorado system, the contributed water actually stays in the system and doesn't disappear along somebody else's canals. Now, without these assurances, obviously such preventative measures don't make sense. It'd be like having a savings account and seeing your neighbor just being able to reach and grab money from it. While not all the lower basin states are affected by the shortage declaration in the same way, I'm hopeful that we can agree on a way to ensure that these voluntary contributions actually do what they're intended to do. I appreciate the attention on this issue, the entire issue of drought in the West. I look forward to the process and looking for meaningful solutions. And just as a question to Deputy Secretary Connor, as I mentioned, the number one priority I've heard from Arizona is to protect the legal status of water left in Lake Mead through these voluntary arrangements that I referenced. And with the MOU that you referenced during your testimony here on June 2nd. There is, however, some concern that the Secretary has discretion to choose to reprioritize the so-called system water created under these arrangements or agreements. What assurances do the lower basin states have that the Secretary would never agree to reprioritize system water for delivery in the same year instead of that water remaining in Lake Mead?
Thank you, Senator Flake, for the question. I think the assurances are based on the practice that has come to be the custom in the Colorado River, and we have at the department deferred in a number of situations, going back across administrations in 2007 with the 7-state agreement that led to the record of decision on coordinated operations and shortage sharing. We operate pursuant to that and have incorporated that into our decision-making guidelines. So the state's agreement has been the model for us to operate, and we have not, since 2007, the Secretary has not exercised any discretion to unilaterally allocate any unused allocation since that time. So as we move forward, and we very much appreciate the efforts of all the states, including Arizona, of looking at ways to create new water in Lake Mead for the benefit of the system, not any particular state, of how we lock in that by agreement amongst the states and the federal government in operating pursuant thereof. I think those discussions are going on right now. It's the standard mode of practice that we would adhere to, and we would try and ensure that, you know, it's always going to be, I can give you my word, but as of January 2017, it's not going to mean much in the basin. So it's how we lock it in through agreements that can sustain itself across administrations.
Right, you're right. That always has been the custom that has been followed, to look at the agreements that are there. But is there a severe enough level of drought somewhere in the basin that would justify, in your view, the Secretary using that discretion to remove water that has been put there for storage?
In any situation, absent an agreement, the Secretary is going to consult very closely with the 7 basin states, particularly the lower basin states, in the use of any unused allocation. I think that's the practice even before 2007. So I wouldn't speculate right now that there's a situation where I would say we would override that consultation process and move unilaterally.
Thank you, Madam Chair.